So Datera has recently become certified with the Veeam backup and replication. In this video, we are going to show you how easy it is to create a high-performance backup repository on a all-flash Datera cluster. All right, so the first thing that we are going to do today is to create a Datera backup repository. So to do that, you click on Add Repository, hit on Directory Data Storage, click Microsoft Windows. This is where you would give it a name, AFN, which is all flash node repository. Hit next. So basically what you're seeing over here is all the volumes that are available on this Veeam backup server. So hit on populate and this will show you all the available volumes. The volume that we're going to pick today is B drive, which is the volume that I recently created. And that's a volume, that's an iSCSI volume, which is backed by all flash nodes on a Datera cluster. So that's the volume that I created a little while ago. And it's a 1 terabyte volume. That's the volume that we're going to use as a target for the backup jobs. So you click on populate and this should show you the capacity of that volume, which is 1 terabyte. And over here, what we could do is increase the number of maximum concurrent jobs. And this actually should match with the total number of jobs that are supported by your Veeam backup proxy server. Hit on advanced, and there are a couple of things that we recommend as part of the Datera Veeam best practices. The first thing is we would like you to check decompress backup data blocks before storing. And the reason behind that is that it's always good to have decompressed blocks of data that is given to a deduplication engine which is running on Datera so that you get the maximum benefit out of data. So essentially, if the data is decompressed, you can get a better rate of deduplication, which is why that needs to be checked. Also, to get a better performance benefit, we recommend you use per VM backup files as opposed to a single backup file, which will have the contents of all your VMs. All right, so since your backup repository is created with a setting that is recommended by Veeam, we use a 64K KB block size. You hit yes to move ahead, and then finally you hit on apply to actually begin the job to create the Datera backup repository. So this should be done. Click on finish, and the next thing what we're going to do is create a backup job which is going to back up some of our virtual machines onto this repository that we just created. So you click on backup job, click on virtual machines. This is where you can give it a name. So we are going to back up a few VMs from the finance department, some of the clone VMs that we created, and just give it a name so we know where it's going to. It's going to a Datera backed all flash node repository. This is where you pick the virtual machines that you want to back up. We will be picking about 4 VMs today for this job. So let's go ahead and do that. Add. So we have about 47.4 gigabytes of data that we're going to back up. Hit next. And this is where you pick the repository that we just created. And that's the Datera Veeam AFN repository. That's the repository you want your backup jobs to go to. Click on advanced. So there's nothing much to change over here except for unchecking this particular box, which is basically disabling inline data deduplication. And that's the deduplication that is done by Veeam. We want to keep that disabled because we are doing the deduplication on the cluster, on the Datera cluster size. So we don't want Veeam to do this for us. You hit next. No change here. And you can either schedule this job to run automatically at a scheduled time, or you can just run it right after you create the job and then run it manually. So we started the job. The first thing that the job does is create snapshots for the volumes and also send some metadata over to the Datera repository. And that's what it's doing right now. The actual data backup should start within a few seconds from now. So that's the metadata that is being transferred, and your backup job has just kicked off. So as you can see, the performance that we get is really good. We are seeing close to 750, but we should see somewhere in the 800 megabytes per second range as it progresses. And bear in mind, this is going to Datera volume, which is sitting on 3 all-flash nodes, which is why you're seeing such a good performance. And if you are interested in seeing a faster performance, which is even better than this, you could always go in for either NVMe or Optane based nodes, which should get you much better performance than what you're seeing now. So as you can see, the job is running at about close to 850 megabytes per second. There you go. It's done. So all your data is now sitting on a Datera cluster, which is backed by all flash nodes. That's it.
Learn more about how Datera brings the software-defined revolution to enterprise storage at datera.io and contact Datera for a free consultation.